I'm using my phone to do this this video, and it's shocking. You can't tell if the phone's recording or not. I hope it is. I need to get a decent camera. So anyway, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we'll look at this car here, Skoda Fabia 1.0 2019. So it's a new car, new small car. I hired this car. I had it for 3 weeks. I drove 2,000 kilometers in it, and what you need to know is that I am a taxi driver. So I've been sitting in cars in the last 14 years. Literally living in cars in the last 14 years. So yeah. It's a nice colour, but I'm not sure if I would choose it. It gets dirty pretty easy. You go from the front, it looks sporty. I guess it would be nice for a new driver. I like the lights at the front. I'm gonna switch them on for you. There, switched on. Those bottom lights are lovely. They're the white one and the yellow. So yeah, the car looks lovely from the front. That's on the other side. And check it from the other side on the back, and we look at the boot. Yes, thank you. F you. So that's the boot. That's decent size for the size of the car. It's nice. You can fit a big suitcase and 2 small ones maybe. So this is what you see when you drive the car. It's a good build. It seems the Superb and the Octavia, except all the buttons are missing here, so you can't control your radio or your media, or you can look at the data and control that from the wheel. I like the way it worked out. It's leather. It's good to hold, good to touch. This little bump is great. This is where you get all your information. Current fuel consumption, fuel tank level. Most of the time you drive in this car, you're in 5th gear. It's a 5-speed car, so everything over 60 km/h or 30, everything go above 30-35 miles an hour, you're driving in the final gear, 5th. Fuel consumption, I have to say, in this climate, because the weather affects your fuel consumption. In the colder weather, your car's going to use more. So in a warm climate where it's like 30 degrees on average at the moment in the summer, I'm using around the town roughly about 5.2 on average. And when you go faster on the motorway, it's definitely using more fuel than that, so it goes up to maybe 5.8 or 5.7, which is not great for the size of the car, but the engine's pretty small, you know. It's a 1-litre petrol engine. It struggles with the speed. And by the way, Skoda, you have to get DSG. People, why do you ever buy a manual car? Just forget about manual cars. They're useless. When you get a Skoda, you have to go DSG. They're so much better, so much more comfortable. It makes a perfect shift every single time. Those cars are just the way to go, you know. Less service, less hassle, less problems. So much more comfort. You would never go back. So yeah, I don't recommend the manual gearbox to anybody. Although I have to say this one's one of the better ones, because the clutch is pretty easy to push in. It's, you know, it's easy to shift. The gearbox decent. A major flaw with the car is the radio. There's no Bluetooth connection in it, which is unacceptable in 2019. Why would you do that? Like, come on, who uses SD cards to play music today? That's just insane. Not good enough. A positive is glove box. It's very deep, and there's a big bottle holder here. Oh, I can get lost in it. Other than that, it's plastic at the top. Noisy enough. A lot more noisier than the Octavia, and you can't compare it to a Superb. Space-wise, I'm 5'9" or 176 centimeter. I fit comfortably here. It's decent. Yeah, you have a passenger beside you and 2 or 3 seats. Yeah, well, you can't go too crazy at the back. I have 2 kids. They fit. It's decent for them. Yeah, 4 adults maybe. So yeah, let's drive the car. Let's take it for a spin. Check out how it sounds like when you drive it. Glasses. Thank you. Oof. Back. There's an old man coming. There's an old man coming on the bike. I don't want to run him over. Doesn't have too much left anyway. You always take it easy and slow when you drive out into a busy road. Not a busy road. So yeah, let's go. So yeah, it's quiet enough. Not the quietest. It's like Skoda makes it on purpose not too quiet. What I find is the car doesn't really like bumpy roads. You feel like you're falling out. The suspension is okay, but like city roads, it's designed to drive in the city. Basically, when the roads are fine, you can go out in the country, but the tiny wheels, they're not going to hold you too much. You know, they don't give you too much grip, and yeah, it's not the fastest car, so you're hardly going to get caught speeding when you're in this car, which is a bonus, I guess. Especially when you're a new driver, you don't want to go too fast. Look at me holding the camera in one hand, with one hand, and driving with another. Left hand only, shifting the gears in the manual gearbox. This is exactly why you need to get a DSG car as well. You don't need to worry about shifting, it's doable. So the car tells you when to shift. All Skodas do that nowadays. I don't know if I like that feature too much. You shift when you feel like shifting, or again, DSG, shift for you. Don't buy a manual car, useless. It's just unnecessary hassle. You don't need to push clutches, and all you need to do is speed up and slow down. Put it in reverse when you need to, and then if you want to go fast, then you put in sport mode, basically. That is the way to go. But people like to stuck in their own ways, you know, and I think that's the only reason they actually drive manual cars, because they've always been driving manual cars. And that is not a good enough explanation. So I don't know if I told you before, I am a taxi driver. I drive cars for a living. I would say if you get this car, you'll get a decent life out of it. If you look after it and service it every 10,000 miles or 16,000 kilometers, change the oil and the filters basically, then the car will last you long enough. It's cheap enough to service these cars, cheap to run. They're super reliable, it's a good engine. So in a way, Skoda didn't build this car to be super quiet, but that is a good thing, because you connect to the engine more, you can hear the engine, and you know what's going on. So for a new driver, that is perfect. That is exactly what you want. So Skoda, made by Germans, it's basically a Volkswagen in every way. When you get this car, you buy reliability. It's not going to disappoint you. Oof, there's someone overtaken, yay! Dickhead. It'll beat the Renaults and Peugeot French cars any day. German cars are the way to go. And I have to say, Skodas never disappoint. I would use them for taxis. They are basically Volkswagens. When you service these cars, all the parts and everything is basically, it says Volkswagen or Audi on the box. So any parts, any car parts it's going to fit a Volkswagen. So this is made out of the Polo, basically. The Polo has a 1 litre engine, it's a Volkswagen engine. And this, don't quote me on that. Brakes are decent, but because you have tiny tyres, I would be careful in the snow. So when you rev the engine like this, when you try to shift smooth, yeah, there's going to be a knocking noise, and you can do the smooth shifting only when you drive the car slowly, which is what this car is made for. It will serve you well. Go for it. You can hear the noise. The roads are not great here, and the noise inside the car it's pretty noisy. There's a feature I haven't seen in any Skodas yet. You can put a speed limit on the car, so the car can go faster than whatever you set. It's handy on the motorway, or if you know you're around the city and you don't want to break the speed limit, you can set it to 50, and then it just goes 50. So yeah, it's a handy feature. I used it once. The engine sounds like a coffee grinder, a small coffee grinder. So if you're looking something simple, which will get you from A to B reliably, something cheap to run, small engine, so you're not speeding too much. Maybe a car for your kids. And this is a car to go for. If you want a good color, then you go for grey or white. Those cars stay clean the longest and the easiest.